people ask me all the time. People starting to say shit like, you know what? I'm going to wait to the end of the video to talk about that. But I'm going to say this. Here is the issue. The issue is Al Haymon good for boxing? Or is Al Haymon bad for boxing? Thank you. You know, sometimes I think to myself, maybe the man just wants to be, appreciated. It looks like to me that he puts people in situations inadvertently to thank him. For example, I realize I thank Al Haymon every day. You know why? Because I'm provided content from Premier Boxing Champions or whoever's giving it to me. I don't know. Showtime, CBS, whoever. But also, as a member of the media now, fights to cover. So ask yourself this. When in the history of boxing has there been so many fights? Like fights literally like every week. On this corporate scale, if that makes sense. Now, don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. Do I always agree with the ethics of the man or what we see? Because we never hear from him, we never see him, we don't know what his plans is overall. No. For example, one of the things I don't like is I don't like that, he can't fight him because he's with Al Haymon. So, on a business sense, me putting my promoter hat on, I can understand in a way what it seems like he's doing as far as he's squeezing. Okay, he's dominating the market to the point where these other promoters, they have to work with him under his circumstances, or they just don't, or they'll have no fights for their fighters. When I look at Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya, I really fully, genuinely believe Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions wants the best for the sport and wants to put on the best fights. Why? Because no matter what, Bernard Hopkins fought the best of the best that was allowed for him to fight. Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, fought the best of the best no matter what. We know he shouldn't have gone down to 145 to fight Pacquiao, but no matter what, he did it. He fought the best of the best of the best. This whole boxing as a business thing came from, in my opinion, but started growing or has grown to an astronomical entity of his own as far as boxing as a business. We hear time and time again, I'm not going to fight him because of the money, or he don't do this and all that. Nobody knows who he is. I understand to an extent, but at the same time, ask yourself this, boxing fans. Where would we be, honestly? Now you gotta really think. Where would we be without Premier Boxing Champions right now? So I'm really thinking, because I understand this is the time when people start saying dumbass shit, like, oh, T-Street, you done sold out and all that. No, I'm really thinking where would we be? PBC on NBC, PBC on Spike, PBC on CBS, PBC soon to be on ESPN, PBC on Bounce TV sometime soon, PBC Corner to Corner. Hell, all the Showtime fights. Majority of the ESPN Friday Night fights were Haymon fights. And I'm thinking, when it comes down to this lawsuit now, Golden Boy Promotions is suing Haymon Boxing or Alvin Haymon or whatever the hell his name is. Thank you, Al Haymon. Whatever, they're suing him for $300 million plus. Allegedly, Al Haymon is in violation of the Muhammad Ali Act. Al Haymon is an advisor. He's not a manager. He's not a promoter. Somehow this man was able to create an entire job title. So the issue is, when it comes to the president of the WBO, the ABC, and all these people that they're gathering up, they want the role of an advisor to be defined. Now, come on. The fallacy is, don't be coy. The man has promoters. He has managers. For example, the brothers Watson of Sam Watson. They're not twin brothers. They're not twin brother Watsons. You know those guys that are always in the ring with all the fighters? They manage all the fighters. in a sense. That's why they're always there. Sam Watson is a manager of the fighters, you know, and the face, the public face of Al Haymon in a sense. So, if you don't know these things, then it's hard for you to understand what legs the lawsuit has. For example, a manager can't secure TV rights like a promoter can, but yet you have Al Haymon allegedly doing both. So it's hard. It's really hard for me to believe, and not to use my common sense to think that, well, every time this man has had a situation where he's had to show up to court or been sued or a lawsuit, is either he pays out or he wins. So it's hard for me to sit back. It's like this. With me, with YouTube, I know everything there is to know about YouTube, to the point where if somebody comes to me with some bullshit, like whether it's, you know, copyright or you know, community guidelines, strikes and all that shit, that's what I do. I know how to fight that type of shit. So with this man been doing this in the music business, you know, and you know, he's actually been involved in a production of some movies in the past. It's hard for me to believe that he just don't have a plan, just in case something like this would happen. Like, oh yeah, I kind of figured Golden Boy and Oscar would get pissed after a while, but like, oh, we're gonna sue the shit out of him. So when you have investors and, you know, corporate sponsors and all that, you have to be aware of all this stuff, and they have to be aware of all this stuff of what can possibly happen. For example, I have investors and partners now. If some shit like that happens, I have to be, you know, tell them, like, listen, there's a good chance we could probably get sued, but listen, I know how to win because yada 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 yada. You know, so I guess I'm looking at it like this. It's tough. It's tough because you have to understand, I have a certain amount of admiration for the man, but at the same time, I get so pissed off and frustrated, I just want to go throw everything off my desk with all the fucking fights, bullshit fights he be making sometimes. But I think to myself, give him a year. For example, he's got super fights for days. He's given us Broner versus Porter. We finally got Mayweather versus Pacquiao. And once again, don't be a fool. Mayweather versus Pacquiao, in my opinion, happened because of Al Haymon. Thank you. If his back ever gets to the ropes, he's got super fights for days. If things ever get really, 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 really rough, he can open up the gates and say, listen, I want my fighters to fight your guys now. Pacquiao versus McDonough. Thurman versus Bradley. You know? He can open up the gates. All right. Listen, Bertabia versus Kovalev, and he can get Stevenson. So when you have all those fighters, which are capital in their own way, how can you lose? For example, who do you think taught Mayweather everything now? This is over people's heads. Who do you think taught Mayweather everything he knows about the business of marketing himself and about boxing? Al Haymon. So, you know, it's tough. It's a tough call, but I'm saying this. It's hard to go get somebody who has he has the fighters. You might as well say he has boxing to an extent. And allegedly, Golden Boy is upset that when it came to, especially, even though it was a beautiful event, even though they were very, very loyal to the Turning Stones up there in Verona in New York, but Golden Boy is pissed allegedly that Al Haymon is just booking up all these venues, you know, and basically edging out other promoters. It's like, oh, you want to fight here? Sorry, Al Haymon's got that booked up. So it's issues like that also with the television deals, you know, stuff like that is what's really putting sand in the vaginas of Golden Boy Promotions and other promoters. But at the same time, I think to myself, boxers have been treated wrong for so long that it's tough. I'm T-Street Controversy with RealCombatMedia.com. As this story develops, I will be doing more. Right now, put it this way, Golden Boy has a chance. $300 million is a lot of money. They have a chance, but it's hard to believe that this man doesn't have all his I's dotted and his T's crossed. That's all I'm saying. T-Street Controversy, T-Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at T-Street Live. Follow me on Facebook at T-Street Controversy. Follow me on my like page, T-Street Controversy. On Vimeo, T-Street Controversy. Daily Motion now, T-Street Controversy. Ustream, T Street Controversy, Google Plus, T Street Controversy, T Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe.